All right, so let's start off with Aussie dollar on the daily. So again, we had that little zone that we talked about last week on the daily, and again, that was actually off a 4-hour zone, I believe. You guys can see it was all the way back here, and we actually got pretty close to it, right? And then again, kind of gives a little bit of resistance, and then punched through the top. So it looked like it was going to be a pretty nice little area, and unfortunately, it just didn't hold for us. And again, some of the timing of that one was not good. Looking at this one on a daily, you can see we are almost back to completely normal. Again, we still have some larger candles in here, but this is a pretty big push with no pullbacks. Like I said, in this buildup of the ATR, I mean, that was where the collapse came from. This has been pretty nice, right? This has been pretty nice. So now we got to start looking at some levels a little bit above. So on the 4-hour, you can see there's a little bit of an area here. You can kind of see it on the daily, sitting right up in this area. Kind of a little bit of a little zone hiding. Let's see on the 4-hour what we have. Yeah, you can kind of see it there, but I'd shrink it. I'd put it back into that area if you're looking for something minor. It's a smaller zone. Looking at the 1-hour, you can see the consolidation is just crazy. Now, there's been so much movement on this one, it's kind of hard to see because we're kind of stuck all the way at the top here. Okay, but you guys can see, even blowing it up pretty big, this is what we got. We're kind of in a small range here, right? We're consolidating in. We're talking about a 20 pip range, top and bottom. Nothing really, looking at the 4-hour, let me shrink this back out. You guys can see there's nothing really sitting above it, right? There's your daily zones. We don't have anything till up top. So it's still got some room to run. I think it can definitely get a bit higher on this one. Dropping it down to like some of the lower time frames as well. Pop those out. You can see even on the 30-minute, it's just straight consolidation back and forth inside of a 20 pip range. So nothing too crazy. I'd like for it, again, I'd like if we had something a little bit higher in this one. Actually, that zone we marked off, it did actually show up. Yeah, it's showing it right there. Up in that range. Yeah, you can see it right up there. But right now we're talking about, that's about 130 pips from where we are. The ATR, this one is not 130 pips on a normal day. Right now it's down to 121 and it's still sucking some big figs out. So we got at least a day before we can get up there. So most likely, again, I would say probably another green day tomorrow, but depends on what the G7 meeting has to say. Oh, Q, I see what you're talking about now. Now I see it. Yeah, I see it. Oh, that's funny. I'll have to read that later. um, so again, I would say another green day. We're not quite up to an area of supply yet, so there's not much we can necessarily do on that one. Also, New Zealand, again, remember here's that little bounce we talked about last week. It went about 2/3 of the way. Coming off that 4-hour zone, it hit, went back down, and now has pushed higher. Like I said, you wouldn't have lost any money. We were up 2-1 on that one, so you would not have taken that loss. Again, it got super, super close, but didn't actually get there. So we are getting close to this upper range. Let's put the, you guys can see right there. We are actually approaching, here, I'll put on the daily. You guys can see we are approaching a daily zone right now for supply. So again, while the other one still has some room to run, this guy looks like it's going to run into a little bit of a hiccup right in this area. Now, it's not the best form zone, but the reaction off it was pretty nice. Okay, looking back on the 4-hour, you can see there was a little bit of a test, right? It drove pretty deep up to where this line is up here. So if anything, I'd wait till we get a bit higher. It's about 26 pips away from where we are. I don't know. This one, to me, I almost feel like this one has the potential to kind of get broken through. Let's go back and look at it real quick. Yeah, I mean, you can see, whoops. Here's what the zone looked like as far as formation. I wouldn't really say that there was any type of explosive movement out of that. Typically, when a zone forms, we want to see an explosion like this, right? We want to see a base and then a boom, an explosion out of it. This kind of just faltered sideways. And then again, we had this nice spike up to it. And again, showed us that there's some sellers there because as it went through, it got hammered right back down again. But that's basically it, right? That's all we got. Now that range is sitting right up there. And you got something along those lines. It's 105.19 to 105.31. So, about what, 11 pips, 12 pips? Not too bad of a zone on that one. Again, like I said, I think the Aussie dollar has a bit more room to run. The Aussie New Zealand, we'll see if it's able to push a little bit farther. That's the best thing we got for this one. All right. Let's look at Aussie yen. I'll start back up on the daily. Let's punch through all these. All right, so on the daily, you can see there's a lot of stuff going on over here, right? You guys see a lot of color, a lot of movement, right? Going back to the 4-hour, let's see. We're going to have to go all the way down. I got a couple different things on this one. So basically, there was a major zone here, right? We knew there was going to be a major zone. Okay. Dropping it down a little bit lower. Let's take that off. Okay. Okay. So we had a nice little pop right here, and there was one little bit of a setup earlier today. For the most part, all we do is we rallied back up again, and we're sitting back in the same level, kind of sitting right there. So wasn't a very, very big zone last time. It took a while. I mean, it kind of went all the way down from that zone, popped up, and then hammered right back into it again. So we're there. It's very, very small risk. You're talking about 68.94 to 69.02. So not really a ton, talking about 8 pips risk, but it also coincides with some type of reversal in the Aussie. Okay, so just kind of keep an eye on that one for Aussie yen in the 30-minute. Again, small zone, not too much movement. It's been there twice before though. We have hit here and we got really, really close and got front run, then put a lower high, then again, just slightly higher and push back down again. So, I'd say that this is probably only B rating as far as a short, but it does coincide with what we're seeing with the Aussie New Zealand. Okay. Looking at Aussie CAD. So Aussie CAD, okay. Aussie had a couple things. Again, we're not quite at the daily area of supply. Getting close though, getting very, very close. Now the ATR on this one is pulling back, but it is still 139 pips, right? Normal ATR is about 54. So while we're getting back there, we're not quite there yet. Pretty close though, pretty close. All right. On the 4-hour, you can see kind of the same thing. Nothing is really showing up. This is not a bad level here. Again, this is actually more or less drawn off the hourly, and then we had one little bit of a retest. You guys can see it. It should be right above here. Yeah, it's sitting right up there. So this is kind of what we had going here. Now, this one was one of the other ones that had a little bit of a gap over the weekend, and you guys can see this one actually kind of got stopped out and then kind of came back down and just kind of flirted sideways. It rallied back up again. It didn't quite start inside of a zone. Ended up popping a bit high. So, I mean, at this point, you can remove this, take it off, and kind of this is where we're at right now, right? Hourly, we're kind of sitting in the zone. I wouldn't take this one as my short versus the other two, but it's another situation where the Aussie is sitting in an area of supply. So just keep that in mind for this one. The lower side on this one, I probably wouldn't focus on this zone as much. There is this big area here. Again, quite a large pop, this area. If we're able to get through that zone, what I would do is most likely look for some type of a Harry Potter trade to the downside here. Look for a break below, a retest, and then a push lower. Because, again, there's a little bit in here, but this coincides with where the profit target is. So I'm kind of okay with that one for any type of a push, retest, and then collapse down. And the 1 to 5 is actually sitting before. It's in kind of the perfect range right here, right? As it goes across, it's where the profit target would be for a short anyway, for the 1 to 5. So I like the lineup of that one. So we'll see, if it turns off this zone, look for a collapse further. If not, I wouldn't be looking for a short until up in this range, up in, whoops, I turned it off. Whoops, not that one. Is there 2 there? Gotta be 2. Right over there. Up in the 89.74 range would be the next time I'm really looking for some type of a short. I either want to momentum break out to the downside or a short up top for Aussie CAD. Let's see, Aussie Swiss. Aussie Swiss also, you guys can see it is definitely, rallying higher. It's getting into an area right now. We do have the gap. So you guys can see that the gap candle is actually right where we're at here. Okay. On the 4-hour, you guys can see it's the candle actually above the gap. It's actually a little bit lower here, but you can see we're getting close. So while there's not necessarily a setup on this one for me, again, Aussie Swiss is not one of my favorite ones to trade. Actually, on this one, you can see there's 2. It has it marked off there and there. So I'll remove that one, and it's showing that there's 2. Same type of situation. Again, not necessarily a setup on this one for me, but it's getting to an area where there's supply, and that we typically, when you see supply, you typically see a lot of these get broken. All right. So that looks like that's going to be turning. And then, whoops, I blew it up. Oh, I deleted it. I'll have to fix that one. That was Aussie Swiss, right? Let's see, Aussie Swiss. Let's see, Aussie Swiss. There we go. So easy. Oh, it normally puts it over here too. It's gonna mess me all up. Whoops, not that. Singapore over here. Oh, you know what? Is that it? Oh, there it is. Blow that one up. There we go. All right, everything's back to normal. Almost. All right, so Aussie Singapore I'm not going to do, but it's the same exact thing. Setting high on the curve. Let's go down to CAD pairs. I'll be talking trash about. All right. All right. So as you guys can see, we're still kind of consolidating back in again. A lot of junk over here. It's hard to see. I know that. But we've been unable to clear this kind of range from here to here, right? We're still kind of in that same area, just on the upper end of it. So you got to be kind of bearish biased anyway. Okay. On the 4 hour, you can see not too much movement. We had pushed down today and then a push back up at the end of the day. So, you know, I wouldn't quite say this is trending. It is sitting very, very high on that curve. Again, if this is high and this is low, we are sitting high on the curve for this one. So again, definitely more bearish bias. Not only does it have the supply zone here, but it also has the gap candle, which starts just above this zone. Okay, kind of starts right there, right above. So it's got a lot above it to push it down. There's not as much to the downside holding it back up again. Okay, dropping down to the hourly, you can see that the gap zone is actually painted here. Let me delete that. There you go. Okay. Now, was a little bit of a zone that got front run today on this one. You know, it is what it is. Looking at this one on the 30-minute, you guys can see this one had a nice little setup here. Okay. Now, if you look to the left, you'll notice that there is a wick over wick here. I don't know if the indicator grabbed it. No. Indicator was grabbing it here. Okay. But there is the little wick over wick. It's here. I'll just draw it. We'll go back up. 30-minute. Yeah, it's here. Okay. Anyway, you guys can see where the, I know it gets a little bit busy on this one. I gotta start putting it in there. Anyway, here was the trade setup, guys. From the gap, it came in, opened up into an area. There was its stop loss. It got super close. It came all the way to the end, and then it just absolutely collapsed to the floor. So this is one of the trades set up last night. It opened up inside of a supply zone, and then since that time, it's funny. You know, it closed here on Friday, right? Closed here on Friday, right here. And now price is 11 pips from where it was. But not only do we have one spike up, a spike all the way down, and then a spike almost all the way back up again. And it got front run back to a short, back to kind of right, more or less the median. So it's all over the place. What do you want me to say? What more specific would you want to be? Because I gave you two trade setups that I would take, and then 3 of them I would not take. But I would use them as a way to tell me that the other ones are more probable. What more would you like to know? Whether it's a tradable, like what the actual entry exits are? Let me know what you're looking for. So as far as CAD yen goes, we're kind of in the middle of the range right now, right? We're in the middle of the curve, so for me, there's nothing in here right now for the CAD. All right. CAD Swiss, kind of the same scenario, right? CAD Swiss on the daily, you can see that we had this one little zone here, right? I marked it off from before. This is the gap candle, right? If we extend the gap candle to the right, again, let's make sure no cheating. Make sure it's right at the bottom here. There we go. You guys can see we just came off the gap candle on the 4 hour. Now on the hourly, you can see that this one was quite a little bit of a jump, right? Nice move, right? Let's pull this one down. Fortunately, as close as we got, it gapped down and then came right back up again. So it's positive, but it's not super positive. It's only about a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio trade at this time. That zone is probably still valid though, down on an hourly. Let's see if we can refine it at all here. No, that's marking off the whole gap. So your risk is going to have to be that entire bit of that. Your risk level on this one is about 27 pips, which is a little bit much for a position like this on the hourly. But again, if you had to take half the position size, you can go ahead and do that one. So if we come back up to 69.76, it's probably fine for a short. If you wanted to wait for a bit more conservative, you can use just the top piece here. I'll just delete it and use this. You can use something along those lines. So it should be 69.90 down to or up to 69.99. It's about a 9 pip risk on that one. And that's just being a little bit more conservative versus the aggressive, a little bit more aggressive, right? The aggressive side of that would be to use the entire gap candle, which would be here to here. Okay, because that's what the strategy shows us. And you guys can see that's what we just bounced off of. So again, Failure to go higher right now. If it continues to push to the downside, there is no trade. So otherwise, again, more aggressive target, you're going to get in at 69.73. A conservative target or conservative entry would be 69.90. Stop loss on either one of those two would be the same at 69. Basically, it's 70. Dot 70 straight across. All right. Those would be the Canadian pairs. Let's go over the Swiss. Now, Swiss yen. Okay. Swiss yen, again, still in the consolidation phase. Again, the highs are getting lower coming off that zone, and the lows are definitely getting higher in here, right? Every push down is getting less and less and less. Now, on the 4-hour, we talked about this. Again, we are bracketed back in again. Here's our top side sells, and here's our bottom side. Now, we were unable to get there today. We did start in a zone, but for the most part, it just kind of had a down day. Now, we have a check in there. I don't know if that one, yeah, the check is still sitting there. We had that zone right there that we talked about being kind of a nice little target area, right? Off any type of a short to the downside. Now, again, wasn't a bad pop. It did touch here, did touch here, did touch here. So it's been in this area a few times. It didn't really clear it, and is now just pushing through that area. So area is good. I wouldn't be taking it for a long, but it could definitely act as a kind of a risk level for us to continue to push to the downside. Looking at this one overall, there's really not a whole lot. There's a little bit in here above, but not really tons that I would say, hey, listen, that's a great zone. Hold on, let me refresh. There we go. Needs to get new data. What I would look for in this one, one area that may be worth taking a short out of would be something along the lines in here. Okay, price did come down pretty well. It touched, popped, went sideways, went down a little bit based, and then we had 8 candles straight to the downside. So there's definitely something sitting there in that zone. So this may be something, depending on what time this one opens. This one is 111.60 to 111.71. Again, 11 pips there. The spread on this one is about 2. It goes between 1.5 and 2. So it's not a very a large spread-based pair. If that grinds up overnight, that's not too bad. If we go through, if we can get up to there for the London Open, that may not be a bad trade necessarily. Otherwise, let's wait for this thing to come down and look for some potential longs when we get probably down in this range. Most likely when we get down here at 110.80, we'd be looking to get a long. We'll put a reminder to do an alert on this one right there. Let's make that a little bit bigger just so it's easier to follow. All right. So that'll be an alert for us when price is coming back down, and we'll see how we feel about this. If it does come down in a big burst like this, then we'll be looking to take it long. If it comes down and it bases or right before, then it's going to be no-go on the Swiss. All right. Euro pairs. So euro pairs, for the most part, are basically flat. Let's see. Right now, the euro dollar is down 7. So it's not the biggest mover right now. So let's go back. Well, we'll do euro Aussie on the daily. So as you can see, we've come all the way back down again, and we're sitting right at that gap level, right? So we broke through the bottom side, which is what we were looking for, right? There's our 2. Now, it did blow through this zone. I thought we would actually have a little bit more resistance in this zone, and it didn't. It just ended up blowing through and basing right at the bottom side before dropping again today. Looking at it on the 4-hour, you can see right where we are right now is right where the gap is, right? Right where the gap is. For me on this one, the way that this is pushing down, the way that we based right before that gap, it definitely built up some sellers. So I think that this one will continue to push to the downside. Obviously, a little bit of a hiccup on the hourly. We'll see. Let's see what those zones look like. Yeah, they're the gap zones. It's the gap and the one right below it. So yeah, so we're in the gap zone right now. We've already seen one little bounce out of it, but again, whenever you bounce, come up to this basically level of basing right above it. Here, we can probably see a little bit better on this one. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, you can see it right here. So, and you guys see there's the level right there. Actually, it should be there, but on the hourly. So again, always cautious about going long when we have a level of basing right before the zone. So we've pushed into it now. To me, if anything, it looks like we're going to have to chop through this before morning time. It may have the ability to do it in the overnight. We'll see. But again, I don't really see anything for me right now that is screaming your strength on this. To me, I think we're still going to be looking to the downside on this one. I don't have a trade set up on this one though. Nothing for Euro Aussie. Looking for New Zealand. Now, this gap got screwed up by this one kind of test candle down. I would say I am bearish this position as well, but not really a setup on this one, and the reason why is because I just don't have an entry for it, right? There's not really a clean area. Even the area up here where the kind of the takeoff point was, not super clean. Again, weekly, we're sitting right inside of a demand zone. Daily, we're sitting right on the zone as well. So while still bearish, I'm not willing to take a, I'm not going to sell into an area buying for this one. So Euro, New Zealand, nothing, Euro, dollar. All right, so Euro, dollar. Here's the daily. So this is kind of the definition of consolidating, right? Here's our high bounce off that daily zone. We formed another one, formed another one. Here's a low, and now we're kind of consolidating, kind of springing back in, right? Coiling up. So here's the 4 hour. Okay, is this trending? No, but it's kind of also, we knew it was gonna be boxed anyway, right? I mean, we had a zone here, right, and we came off the top of that, and from the downside, we know that we got a zone sitting right in here. So right now, we're really playing with, it's about a 50 pip window back and forth. Okay, so it's not a huge window. Looking at it on the hourly, you can see as well, we've had some movement, right? We're in a downtrend setup right now, but there's not really a great zone. It's kind of sitting right in the middle. If we're using this as the top and this is the bottom, not in the best area. I think if anything, let this go a bit higher, come up into this area. It's about 20 pips risk. It's not the best. I would prefer this one up here. I would prefer coming all the way up top, but that would require us to move about 100 pips. I don't know that we can get that 100 pips from now to the London Open. We could potentially get that from now till the US Open, but that's going to require quite a lot of movement inside of the European session. So we'll see. This would be something more on the near term. Again, what do you got? About 20 pips risk on this one. The 1 to 3 is in a fine place as far as a target goes. The 1 to 5 is too far. It's on the other side of this zone, so it's definitely not safe. So really 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 is probably the extent of what your trade on this one. The 1 to 5 is a bit too risky. So it's basically risking 20 to make 60 on this one. So again, 60 pips is a nice grab, depending on what size you're trading. Do some multiplication. It's a $600 trade on that one. All right, for standard. So that's what we got. Ideally, like I said, I prefer this zone up here. I like these two. I'd much rather be this high on the curve on this kind of inner channel. That's at 110.28. But with the price being at 19.29 right now, it's got a bit to run before we can get up to there. So again, aggressive target in the near term. Longer, bigger picture short as we get back up into this range. Okay, that's euro dollar. Euro yen. Let's see. So euro yen has been a little bit back and forth, and this is one of those things that we've up. Still holding that long, for the downside here. But lower time frame, you can see this one more or less. I mean, 12 hours of flat. It had basically 8 hours of down. You guys basically ending at 11 o'clock. So more or less from the open last night, right? The open yesterday to really about 10 o'clock this morning. So again, open European session move, and then it really did nothing after that. From 11 till now, basically, it's moved a little bit. We're talking about 15 pips to the top side. So most of this is in the overnight. Now, where this actually turned off of, it hit the zone and collapsed. Don't know that I would have used that as far as an entry go. I mean, it's nice. It looks fancy on paper, right? But it came right down and ended up hitting this trigger line. It kind of did what we thought it would do, but ideally we would have liked it to come up to here. I would have liked it to touch that zone. Whoops. Not red. Liked it to touch that zone right there. Okay. I like that one much better. This one a very, very minor zone. It hit, went, kind of left the zone without us. All right. So for me, what I'm looking for now on this pair, and remember, it's more of an if this than that. Of these two, although the first one's been tested, I like the huge extended range candle in this one. So for me, I'm looking for either here or probably there, but I'll extend it. Would be our two sides that we're trading off of. So top side looking at 111.45 to 111.70 as our short area. On the downside, our long area is 116.61 to 116.34. Now again, remember, currencies, there's a little bit of a price disparity. It's a little slightly different on every platform. So you need to make sure that yours, again, is matching with what we're trading with here. Okay, just again, go in there, find your zone. You can find it down here, similar place, and you'll be fine. Okay, top and bottom. So that's your yen, your Swiss. So Euro Swiss is like, man, it's still, we got our top and our bottom and it just won't go there. It's so close. We are now within 120 pips to go. The ATR on this one on the daily is 39 pips. So, I mean, you guys can see, not that it ever really got out of its range, but it's collapsing. Look at this. On a daily, this thing is just flatline on Euro Swiss. So, unfortunately, no trade on Euro Swiss. There's just not enough movement in it right now. There's no reason to take any risk on this one. Euro Pound. So, Euro Pound, okay. Euro Pound had not a bad day. Like I said, down 55. You guys can see the ATR is almost back to normal. Some of the ATR peaks over here are actually at the kind of 95 range, and we're sitting at 104 right now. So it's just above what a crazy peak would be, where average on this one is going to typically be 70, 75. So, 104, we're getting really, really close to this one being back to 100% to normal. Now, it is continuing to push down. We are retracing a little bit. Tomorrow, I would also expect this one to be to the downside and come back into this lower range down here at 86.41. Looking at it on the 4 hour, you can see not really much anything, right? Last week. And then, bam, we hit it. Basically, European session down and then flatline again. So just really no movement besides that. Look at this. Sideways, boom, collapse. There was one little entry right here, right? There was one little entry right here that you guys kind of got into. It was about 8 o'clock this morning is about the only time you kind of got in. Since that time, nothing. Now, on the hourly, interestingly enough, we do have some, again, 2 zones sitting right below where we are. Let's check the formation of those 2 zones. They're okay. They're okay. This bottom one is a little bit better than the top one. But if anything, again, focus on the 4 hour zone. That's going to be the much stronger zone that's tested down here. It may chop a little bit, but again, there's going to be more entries for us around here. This zone is going to be approximately 86.46 down to 86.71. And 2 ways to take it. We can take this as a breakout to the downside, or depending on how its entry looks, look for some type of a pop out that side. Okay. What I would do, set an alert on this one and set the alert right here about, let's see, let me check that on the hourly. Yeah, it's probably fine, because if it just floats around this top one, I'm not going to be interested. I want it to slice through. I know that the 30-minute and the 1 hour zones are typically pretty good. I want it to slice through. Give me an alert when we're kind of breaking through this one, and then I'll determine what I'm going to do off the larger time frame. Because you can see right there, the dotted line, that is where that's the 4 hour zone right there. 4 hour zone is going to be a little bit stronger than either the hourly zone that it's being bracketed by. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, I can see it. You should be able to see it. All right, so Euro Pound, again, a lot of flatness. I expect this could continue to fall, and again, looking forward to drop all the way back down into really 86.50 is where I'm really looking to start. Even potentially waiting to get long. All right, I don't think these 2 are going to turn. Dropping down to EuroCAD. So EuroCAD still has a spread of 2 on the daily. You guys can see that this one is almost all the way back to normal. Its ATR is still 154. The average for this one typically is about 70, so it's still about double. Makes it kind of hard to trade right now. It's still, like I said, a little bit farther than what we want to do. As well as, what do we have for the euro? Flat. European session, it moved, and then it flatlined again. So we are sitting right now, again, here's where the gap candle was. We mentioned this before, that this was going to be target areas. And you can see that we skirted, pushed, and now we're kind of stuck. So if you are looking for, again, if you're looking to get short a position, there is the potential to take this one short for a Harry Potter here. And again, I'll change this one to red just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to get. Okay. Actually, I would shrink there. I'm going to move it and do it off this side. Oops, not that one. Right there. There you go. All right. So again, pushed through it slightly, didn't really give us the entry for what we were looking for on the 4 hour. The 1 to 3 is in a good position right now. The 1 to 5 is still a little bit far, so maybe just hold this one for 3. But I think actually you're probably okay to take this one back into a target level of in there. Okay, for a continued push to the downside. Okay, kind of the same idea. So for me, this one is looking for a breakout of 151.44, stop at 152.01. Make sure you get your white space or black space, depending on what your chart color is. Again, if you need to draw the triangle, draw the triangle. Again, drop it down to a lower time frame. You guys should be able to see it down over here. Yeah, see, it's drawing it. Let me delete that so you can see it a little better. Yeah, see how it has a green already drawn in there? All right. So make sure we get the draw, the nice draw to the downside. Okay. If you need to, you can draw yourself a little triangle. It's better. That's better. Whenever it breaks. Like I said, I don't know if this is where it's gonna wherever it's gonna break. Make sure it goes around this, comes back and retests it, and that's where we're gonna take the short. Okay. That's the best we got for EuroCAD right now. Again, based off of that zone. Again, adjusted accordingly. Again, I use the original gap. We could probably shorten this down. Ever find this one on the hourly? Go to EuroCAD, go to the hourly, find the gap, block off that candle. That's going to give us our entry on this one. So you can see it makes it a little bit shorter. So it's 151.41 to 151.90. Okay, so again, quite a large zone, but take the short at the bottom. Use a smaller position if need be. Okay, that would be EuroCAD. So after EuroCAD, let's switch over and look at the pound pairs. Are factoring any fundamentals into the play or just pure technical? Nope, purely technical. There are no fundamentals in currencies whatsoever that make any difference. Most of it is on such a macro level that none of the fundamentals. See, it's a little bit different because the central bank is also the one that creates the policies, and they're the ones that carry the largest amount of volume of trading back and forth inside of this market. There's no earnings in like the dollar doesn't have earnings, right? So yeah, I don't really do much. The only time I factor any type of fundamentals in is I don't actually care what the fundamental is. I just care that they are releasing any type of fundamental, and I just call it economic news. When there's economic news on something, I do care then because it's going to increase the volatility and act as a catalyst. But that catalyst typically only pushes it towards the technical zones anyway. Um, so, it doesn't matter to me that unemployment is this, or it doesn't matter to me that, this is how many jobs are lost, or this is what the oil inventory is, or this is the CPI. I don't care about what the actual number is. I care where we're located before the numbers or after the numbers, or what the reaction to the number is where it goes, but the actual fundamentals itself doesn't matter. The only thing the fundamentals matter is if you're looking to become an investor long term for like 30 years, and you're worried about what a company basically does the company have any staying power. That's the only time fundamentals will actually matter whatsoever. And I do very, very little investing at this point. I do mostly just trading. So for me, it's, the more the fundamentals matter is long term, and I'm a short term trader more than anything else. Hopefully that answers your question. All right, pound yen. Pound yen is down. Let me see here. Pound yen is down 26, or actually it's up 26 in 24 hours. So you guys can see right here. This one is pretty flat, right? Look at this curve on the ATR. This ATR is insane, right? Right now the ATR is 158, which is slightly higher. Again, 130 as a standard ATR is not out of the ordinary for this pair. This one peaked over here at 387. So you can see how fast it's chomping away at all this stuff, right? Now it is slowing down. It is pushing, but again, it is affected by the yen as well. It's not a pure play with the pound. But man, talk about stalling on this one, right? So looking at the 4 hour, you can see that this one is really just not even trending. I mean, it's trending, but it's going sideways, right? So for us on this one, we still have an alert set over here at 136.60, looking to get into a short position when we get up into here, right? So we're looking at a 136.87 to 137.60. Again, is it a large zone? Yes. Was it created back when there was still craziness? Yes. But that's what we're going to have to work out of. And again, 77 pips. We can probably make it a bit smaller. Let's see, on an hourly, can we shrink it? Yeah, you can shrink it a little bit. There's actually two zones minor in front of that as well. You could potentially take either one. Actually, I'd probably take, let's see, the second one is probably the right one to take. So looking like instead of that, we would take this one. So 136.63 to 137.20. So again, you're still looking at 60 pips. It's going to be a big zone. But again, if you can take it over in Nadex, go over and take it in Nadex. Don't have to worry about it as much. Look for a touch bracket. Look for actually, I guess it's not a touch bracket pair. Look for a call spread. Something, something ceiling wise. All right. All right. So again, like I said, part of the problem with this one is this. Okay. It's just that we're dealing with this. And when we look to the left from this kind of pullback, this is kind of smack when all the craziness started. Okay. So we really need to chomp through this, whether turn back down again or just continue to push a bit higher. But this whole area from here to here, right? We need to get through this bit of movement, right? I mean, we're talking about in basically 16 days, you're talking about over 2,000 pips in 16 days. We need to get through that zone and the craziness. Again, should we be taking a 60 pip stop loss? No. But unfortunately, that's what it gives us. So again, one way to shorten that is obviously to take it over in Nadex. Create that kind of take advantage of the option aspect of it, and look for some positions over there. All right. So that's for this guy. Pound CAD. So pound CAD on the daily, again, we were bouncing between 2 4-hour levels. I hate this top level, but it's there. As you guys can see, again, more or less sideways movement. On the hourly, it does look like there's a little bit more. And again, top to bottom range-wise, you're talking about 130 pips. So not bad, right? We closed, we opened, we went all the way back up and kind of, again, it pulled from a zone, but none of these are really great. This top side here, there was a wick over wick, and I know we marked this off last week on the other charts. That's where the wick over wick was, right? It has formed a new level, so let me go back and it's shift. There we go. Actually, you guys can see it marked it off here as well, but here's that wick over wick that we marked off before. It did go slightly higher today. Okay, so again, there was the chance that had you taken this, you would have gotten stopped out. But again, you guys can see what did it do? It pulled right back down, and again, you guys would have had to definitely mark off this area here, right? Why? Well, that's where the gap went to, right? And that would have been what your target was off any type of a short position. Looking on the 30-minute, again, you guys can see, not really the cleanest of entries up here either. So unfortunately, this one was pretty wicky. And again, we're talking about 10:30 in the morning. It's not a Nitix-based pair, so kind of a hard play, right? It's when the Canadian market came online just shortly after. Not the best, right? Again, range was good, high on the curve, shorted, went right to the target, but the entry would have been a little bit hard, right? I don't think we could have got any more than that one. Oh, actually here, hold on. Actually, there to there. Sorry. Hold on. It's off again. Nope. There we go. Oh, actually, I guess we would have snuck in. You would have snuck in. So you could have taken that one. I didn't take this one. I wasn't looking at the charts at this time, unfortunately. This was was in a phone call with the boy. So not for me. I didn't get it. If anybody did, it was a great little run today on this one, about 120 pips to the downside. I'd be very cautious with that zone again. As you guys can see, we had a touch here, a touch here. And again, I'll put some X's on here. You guys can see touch there, touch there, touch here, and touch here. So for me, this one's already been hit 4 times. I don't think that zone is going to hold, so I would not use it as a kind of another short. Okay, I would clear myself out of that one. So be a bit cautious. Now, right above that, there is a zone, but I like this zone a bit better. I like that one a bit better for me. So again, obviously this is probably another like couple days. Whoops, not that one. A couple days before we get into this one, but I do like a zone as a short right up here. Okay. And again, 25 pips, not too bad, right? Talking about 175.77 to 176.03. And based off of this wick over wick, I can't see what's formed from now till then. I like where the 1 to 3 is. The 1 to 5, probably, I don't know. We'd have to see what that one looks like, depending on how this is formed back to the top side. I'll remove this now because, again, we'll keep it. I'm going to mark it to here. Okay, just so we know for any type of a push to the top side. But I like where this one is placed. I like this push down. I like that it went up at base and then kind of collapsed, and it was the next push down. So mark that off on pound CAD. Pound US. Okay, so pound US is now sitting inside of that daily wick over wick, right? You're seeing it right there. Okay, so we are in an area where it looks like we should be getting short. Again, I don't know that the U.S. is at this point considered strong versus the pound. I feel like they're a little bit farther ahead, not coronavirus-wise, but just economy-wise. Excuse me. I just feel like they got an advantage over us, right? So that area is marked off here. Actually, if you wanted to refine it a little bit, you could take it up to this zone, right? This actually should go to there. There you go. Whoops. Okay. So just know that that's where it's sitting right now. You guys can see that there's actually a minor level in there too. I probably actually wouldn't take that zone. I'd probably go a little bit higher. But anyway, I'm not looking to take this one short off of this zone. I'll delete this and you guys can see the top one. I don't know that I would use that for an entry. See how we have this little bit of the wicks right here? I think I'd go a little bit higher than this. Let's see. It's still about 38 pips even on the hourly. It's a bit too much on this one for an hourly. See it up top. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one. Part of the problem with this one, so this is the hourly. So it's a 35 pip range on this one. And here's why it's still pretty high. Again, because the ATR is dropping down. And if you look back to the left, what do these candles look like? So when we look to the left, this candle was 382 pips, the candle that it's running into. So unfortunately, the level is still a little bit jacked on this one. I mean, if you're willing to step in front of this one, I would probably take this one over Nadix as well. Just because, again, 35 risk is more than what we're going to take on the other side. Even if you took this in a small account, right? Even if you're taking this in minis, it's still $35. Any of the Nadix contracts that we would take to take this one short would not even have $35 worth of risk in there, and the reward would be more or less the same either way. Especially if you did it with a call spread. So I would probably short a call spread on this one. If we can get approached that level. But I'm not going to take a 35 pip, not with the ATR shrinking. And I mean, this one's up 91, which is great for the day. But this one's shrinking real quick. As it is, we're about 40 pips from it now. So that'd be a Nadix position. Actually, you know what? Let me check something real quick. Where is it? I already pulled it down. Hold on. Let me pull up Nadix real quick. I'm going to see what the touch bracket above us is. Because 35 pips, we should either be at the top of the range or a reset. Hold on. Forex, pound. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Let's see. Pound. That's at 125.90. Oh, these are quite far away. Actually, this one's not bad. 126.06. So if we got up into that range, this one would be about, again, the stop is technically goes to 126.24, so it's kind of on the other side. But it may be willing, again, it's also 16 pips past and beyond where the entry is. So that one may not be horrible. Let's see. Again, we're still 30 pips away from it, so we still got some range. So there's no point even pricing it out. But this bottom here, this TB2, that may be one that's not horrible to look at when that one comes up there. The 24 one, this one is too far away. That one may not be bad. And then let's look at 126.25. This one is not bad either. So this one, the ceiling is actually where the stop loss would be. So if we can get in the middle of that range, right around 126, or actually probably 126, maybe a little bit more of a push, there may be a play in that one as well. Difference is the touch bracket's going to last till the end of the week, so we have 5 days for that one to work. This one, unfortunately, we have 16 hours to go on this one. So, now if we can get weekly spreads, then I'm good. I'd rather have the weekly spread because I don't have the stop out on the top side. But all right, all right. So let's shrink that back down, pull that over. Pound Aussie. Pound Aussie, we're getting close to a zone here at the bottom. Like I said, I'm not touching this one until we get back down into this range at 193.90. We're currently about 150 pips away. It only has an ATR of 293. So again, I'm not interested. You guys can see it's consolidating quick. The ATR is collapsing fast, but you guys can see even on the daily. I'm going to wait till it comes back down. So no trade necessarily for that. Pound New Zealand sideways. There's just nothing. There's nothing to trade. There's not a level top and bottom. It's purely sideways. So there's nothing currently on Pound New Zealand. And then Pound Swiss, you guys can see that we are approaching a zone on the 4 hour. Dropping it down to the hourly, you can see that there is a zone, but it's quite large on the 4 hour. Oh, let me actually, there you guys can see the 4 hour right there. If you scroll back a little bit, you can see here's the overlay of the larger time frame. Here's the actual kind of better of a zone. I would probably take it off of, this is kind of, it's about 30 pips, right? You would say, hey, normally we get a little bit more in this one, but again, the candle we're going back to is quite large. So probably here, most likely, right? Let's see. Our risk on this one is going to be about 25 pips, which is not horrible. The daily's 143, so, not too bad. We're probably a day away, though. We have about 100 pips before we get up to that zone. And it's not really trending fast. So again, set yourself an alert if you don't want to keep a position on. Put yourself an alert somewhere around 121, 122. 122 is just before that. That should give you enough time to get back in. See whether you like this. See if there's any type of area of basing below it, and then be able to take a short position to the downside. Profit target at 121.38 is probably fine. Okay, let's drop down to New Zealand. James, how many mason jars did you have today? All right, New Zealand. So New Zealand just had a big push, most likely because of that news. Let me see real quick. Hold on. Yeah, probably because of that news spike. Super confidence number? No. Okay. All right. So daily on this one. Continue to push higher. I don't know what these are for, but not that. All right. So this one had a little position from last night. Here was the 30-minute gap guides and ended up hitting and coming back down and triggering. So it actually came up and triggered here and went back down again. It worked it worked here, down, and here a third time. So this one hit 3 different times last night and then went up and then started to go after this larger level. Now this level is way too big. You guys can see what the normal levels are looking like. Even on the 30-minute, this one is about 34. It's too big for the New Zealand dollar. So we need for it to get through that area. Boom. Where we're at, looking to the left, you can see it's an area of basing. It's all right, right? It dropped, it popped, it went sideways, and then collapsed, hit, and then tanked away. Ideally for this one, I'd really like this one to get higher up on the curve. Like I said, we're about 70% of the way. I think I'd feel much better shorting if we were a bit higher, right? I mean, there's a zone sitting like in here. There's a little zone. I mean, there's this zone sitting right here, right? And that's what we're kind of chomping through right now. There's another zone here, which is okay. I mean, this zone is not bad. It dropped, it went sideways, and then had a big push through. But it's got to go through this, and this. If I had to pick, I mean, this bottom one, we're hitting it. I just don't like it as much, especially with the level right above it. This one is not bad. I could potentially be, talking to taking a position when we get up to here, taking a short somewhere around that level, somewhere around there, right? You're looking at about a 20 pip range, 20 pip zone on that one, 62.55 to 62.75. So yeah, 20 pips. I like that zone better just based off of the movement over here. And again, this is a 4-hour level with 20 pip risk. So that one's not too bad. Profit targets. Again, I'd have to see how it gets up to that level. But right now, they both look like they're okay. We have nothing but green candles up. 1 to 3 and 1 to 5 are both good on this one. All right, so mark that off for pound dollar. Pound New Zealand. Again, we're running into the gap area on the pound New Zealand. If anything, I think the pound New Zealand's ready to fall as well. Yep. There you go. Yeah, so it looks like we did put a new level in today that we kind of bounced off on. But for the most part, for me, I still like this top level. I like, really for longs or shorts, I like this as far as kind of getting in short, and this for going long. Okay, those would be the two areas, top and bottom, where those two zones are formulated. I think those are two pretty nice zones. Now again, smaller time frames. Again, sure, yeah, there's a short here. Of the smaller ones, I don't like this little green one here. I don't mind this, and this one's not bad. I mean, this one's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's been proven here. It's been touched 1, 2 times. This would be almost 3. Those are not bad, but again, ultimately, this is the top of my curve. This is the bottom of my curve. Shorts, longs, and then if it breaks through this zone here, looking to get short here and do this Harry Potter. Okay. Yeah, that's what we got for New Zealand's. Let's go down and do the dollar pairs. One for every new case of coronavirus that popped up in Texas. Yeah, right. James is spending a lot of time on that porch drinking. All right. So dollar yen in 24 hours, dollar yen has gone down about 52. But again, 60 minutes, for the last 60 minutes, it's kind of pushing up. So we are bouncing off of a daily demand zone. Okay, so we know we have buyers sitting in here. We got the Harry Potter here. 4 hour, you guys can get a better view. Again, it looks like it still has a little bit more to go to the downside. It looks like we can travel about another 40 pips before we really get into a potential buying area for us. On an hourly, look at this. All right, so here is the initial kind of pop. It did not break. It popped off of it, but look at this. Oops, not that. Here, I'll just do it this way. I don't know if anybody caught this or not. Boom, boom, boom. So, see this. I'll extend this to the right. There was the break that we talked about, the pullback, and it just missed the short. So, what's up, Remke? So yeah, so this one we missed the short. Like I said, for me, guys, again, this would have been a very successful Harry Potter if you guys are able to grab that one. Some good things to trade on that. We'll delete that now. Again, that was what we were looking to get broken. Right now, we're really waiting. Right, we're waiting for this to come all the way back down. And I say all the way back down, but it's only about 38 pips, so it'll probably cover that in the morning time. That zone is a little bit big though. Let me see. What do we got here for this zone? It's 25. It's not horrible. Not horrible. It'll be interesting to see where we are tomorrow morning for the U.S. Open. All right, so we're definitely approaching a big buying zone down here. Down here. Okay, 107.25-ish range. We're definitely have a buying area. So I would like to see where price is when we can kind of come down and touch that zone. That's going to make a big difference, whether we'll go long or short. In the overnight, this one will probably just grind down, but we'll need U.S. market, U.S. data, U.S. news to be able to move this one. So yeah, holding pattern on this one. Again, bearish in the overnight, but looking for this to potentially bounce tomorrow morning in the morning for U.S. Open. Dollar CAD is down 77. So again, still continuing to push back down. Again, kind of a little bit choppiness on the daily, not giving us much. Looking at on the 4 hour, kind of the same thing. A lot of wicks in here. There's not a lot. There's just not a great entry in here as well. Look at the hourly. Actually, I do like this entry up top. I think that's a good drawn zone. If price is able to get back up into this range, right there is fine. The 139.73 to 133.89. That's not a bad little short area. I like how much that pushed off of there. Shows that there's some sellers sitting right above that zone. Not too bad. Downside, you can see there's really not a whole lot there. Trying to go back. Yeah, we're sitting in we're in this area right now. So nothing holding this one back. If this continues to push short in the overnight, there's nothing going to slow this one down. That's the only entry I have up top is again 139.73 to 139.89. Dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss moved minus 13 pips. So here's your 4 hour. It went up a little bit and came right back down. And the entire range today was about 22 pips. So Oops. Here's the entire range. It looks great, right? Like, yeah, lots of movement. And I guess that's 50. I guess that's not that bad, right? Yeah. Here's where we were last night. Yeah, so we basically went, oops. Yeah, here's where we were last night. So we went down 20, and then we went as high as 20 above, but we're in the same exact spot. So we're down about 10 pips from where we were last night. Really nothing. I mean, there's nothing. There's a wick over wick, but I wouldn't have traded. There was the trade, but I wouldn't have traded it off of that. Oh, you know what? Maybe it hit 11. Again, 10:30. I was on the phone today, so anything that's here at 10:30, I definitely did not get into. Let's see, would you have hit? Yeah, you would have just hit your profit target on this one. Ernest, did you get this one? Ernest, you watch this one. I don't watch this one as much now that I'm like super busy with slides. But yeah, this would have been a 10:30 reversal. Not a bad little trade setup if you got it. Let's see, your profit target on this one would have been 35. So yeah, not too bad, not shabby. Where's the play on the euro dollar again? I didn't trade. Oh, you didn't trade today, Ernest? Yeah, this was not a bad one. Like I said, full slide mode. This was not my thing. Remke, yeah, I did overnight. I didn't trade during the day today. I set positions on last night for the Sunday night open, and I made some money there. But during the day today, I have a presentation that's due tomorrow in a new class that's being released, and I had to finish up the slides today. But I needed like live data and live charts, so I didn't really have the time to do both. I typically can't build slide decks, work on a webinar, and trade all at the same time. It's just a bit too much. I make too many mistakes. Said I was the only one. No, you're not the only one. Was flying solo today. Maybe you were. But how much moonshine did you drink when you were doing it? How much Texas courage did you need today? Yeah, Remke. A lot of my Monday trades for me are typically set up on Sunday night, and then I end up watching most of it during the day. But this would have been a great one. I'm kind of mad now that I didn't catch this one. Again, it came right in at a perfect time, right around that 10:30, 11 o'clock. 10 to 10:30 is really my favorite time. It's what I would call like the golden hour, where so many setups happen. This would have been a nice little one, right? I mean, again, you're risking about 11, 12 pips. I mean, you can't really can't fault yourself for trading 11, 12 pips. Nice little setup to the downside, right? It's at your 1 to 3 right now, and looks like it's continuing to drop a bit. So yeah, it's a nice one. Yeah, I would actually take this zone again. I don't think this zone is a horrible zone. So this one would be sitting over here, potentially around this 96.84. Not a bad little area. All right, Singapore, we're going to skip. All right, let's go into the fun stuff. This is the craziness that you guys love, right? This is the stuff that you guys love. So let's look at oil. So on a daily basis, oil really didn't do too much. It kind of was bouncing off that demand zone, right? As you can see over the last, hours, we basically jumped between 2250, and again, remember ECN numbers, not actual numbers here, and 2350. It's a little bit, right? So here's what oil looked like. Is it trending? Not so much. Not so much. We can take these off now. Those profit targets hit. So there's oil right now. Yeah. Kind of bracketed in. Like I said, this one is kind of funky. I'm going to zoom out so you guys can see. So, I mean, obviously, we got something going on right here. Okay. This has been a zone from, oops, not that one. From this level to this level. Kind of in this like lower 20s. Okay. We are starting to push back down there again. Okay. You see news like, let's see. Where is it? I just saw it. Where was it? It was just here. I'm missing it. I don't even know where it is now. There was something about oil over here. Oh my God. Did they delete them all? All right. So earlier when we started today, there was something about oil. Man, I can't find it now. Basically, even with news that oil is even with that they're going to do cuts, oil's not really falling for it. So again, I think this market's slightly confused. This one is so driven by demand right now, and again, bad news with the coronavirus. And again, the G7 meetings tomorrow will be interesting to see kind of what the recovery pattern looks like, because again, if you don't have any demand, it doesn't matter how much production you cut, it's not going to make any difference. So even on the 30-minute, there's really not a whole lot tradable right now on this one. If anything, again, use your own numbers on this one, but this little pop right here is probably the best thing that we have. You can see we're getting close to that level that we've bounced off in the past. If we do get a pop into this 23-36 range, it's not a bad one. Like, it gapped down, it came up and it touched it and got hammered down again. That's probably the most conservative movement today of these four kind of red candles in a row, right? That's probably it. I wish there was more in this one, but as you guys know, oil's been the one that we got to kind of look for, in the morning and kind of see what's formed in the overnight. Because right now, I mean, everything I have basically shows it's going to take a bounce just slightly lower than where it is right now, right? Now again, will this push down to 20? I don't know. It depends what the unemployment numbers this week, but nothing really on oil. Looking at gold. So gold has finally broken out the top. Okay, finally broken out the top. Now, why is it breaking at the top? I have absolutely no idea. This is nothing but pure speculation. The economy's not good. There's absolutely no inflation. There's no reason for it to jump this high. This is everybody saying it's going to go long. It's going to go long. It's going to go long. It's all these people buying. Don't be surprised if it turns and starts to collapse again. Because there's just nothing up there that really justifies it. So right now, again, because we are kind of at this high mark again, it's really what you're going to have to do is find this on lower levels and start looking for areas to start shorting. Again, once we get a failure to go higher, we haven't really had it, right? We didn't really have any failures in here. Continue to grind, and it's just grinding higher, right? There's not really any great entries really until back over here. So even long wise, there's really not much great. There's a small level to go long here, but that's about the extent of it. That level starts at really here, right? 1709-ish area, right? Is a little bit of an area of demand. And again, if you were taking a position like that, right? Oops. No, I don't want the box. I want this guy. Oh, let's do this. Again. It would be something along those lines if we're able to get that pullback. Okay. What kind of you got? Oh, God. Oh, God. Don't ask me that. Don't listen to Krames. He's under the influence. It's great to see big numbers. Isn't that nice? Yeah. I mean, that's standard because it's hard to see the numbers on the side. So I figured, hey, wait a second. We have the tag. People can see the tags. And yes, I know this tag is on the wrong side. It should be the other way, but I remember I moved it on the left side, right? On those lines. And now remember, your numbers have to be the same. You have to check to make sure your numbers are okay. Yep, multis are better. Wait, James has had multiple mason jars? See, Remke thinks we're crazy. I'm talking about, Remke. James is a retired oil guy who makes his own liquid courage in Texas. So he sits on the porch and drinks out of a mason jar. I'll let you fill in the I'll let you fill in the rest of the details on that one. But James is an amazing trader. He knows oil inside and out. He's one of our resident geniuses as far as oil goes. And yeah. But yeah, he's outside. James does a lot of James, and again, I can pick on James, but James does a lot of cool stuff for the community as well. He does a lot of stuff with like the old folks home and stuff like that. So James is good people. So we pick on him a lot. Yeah. But then we have Ernest. So everything that I just said about James, then we have Ernest. And Ernest basically sits in his backyard, drinks vanilla vodka, smokes cigars, and is a slave to his children's food desires. They want Chick-fil-A, he makes them Chick-fil-A. They want ribs, he makes them ribs. They want chicken wings, wet, he makes them wet chicken wings. So nobody will ever say that Ernest didn't love his kids. And Q, be careful. Q is in the quarantine zone in deep New York City. So any of those, like Snake Plissken, Escape from New York, that is Q. It just a joke. He smokes anything that walks. Yeah, Ernest smokes anything that walks. Yes, even cats. Don't put it past them. Don't put it past them. So, all right, guys. So that's for gold. Looking at silver. Silver. So this is, I love this one. All right. Thank you for the follow, Remke. Appreciate it, buddy. So I love this one. So everyone's like, buy gold and silver. Well, here's what gold looks like on the 30-minute, right? Here's silver. Does silver look as good? Not really. Not really. Here's that zone we drew last week. It's still kind of bouncing back and forth. So remember, silver is not a hedge for inflation. Gold is what people think is a hedge for inflation. Gold hasn't increased in value in 30 years. It's still worth the exact same amount it was worth before. Inflation has increased, but it's not like gold has really gotten any more expensive or anything. So it actually hasn't changed, right? It's not the investment people think it is. But silver, on the other hand, again, looking at this one on the daily, you can see we are running into an area where we have had sellers, right? This little kind of hiccup, right? On the 4-hour, you can see this is where the hiccup went in. The indicator actually drew it, but we actually have another one sitting right here. Again, there's 3 wicks, so it's a good zone. So for me, silver looks like it's getting into a position where we need to start looking to short it again. And gold most likely was probably just the more volatile of the two. They're probably both going to do the same thing. It's just when this one goes up a little bit, gold goes up a little bit more because people think, oh my God, we're printing money, buy gold. I mean, I don't know. You don't have inflation when people aren't buying things. Like when people are getting laid off, businesses are not raising the price of things, right? So yeah, just keep that in mind. So again, silver looks like it's getting ready to be some type of a short setup. Again, find the numbers on your own platform. Potentially, most likely going to be some type of shorting inside of this 1570 range if you're looking at it. Looking at the NQ. So the NQ, again, green day, we did push up a little bit. We are trying to fill that gap, and I mentioned that this weekend. It was looking to get into a position where we could fill. Now that we are filling, though, this is the big question. Is there going to be enough in here? Is there enough oomph to keep going? Is this the low? Did some of the big names, myself included, are we not going to get the big pushback to the downside that we're getting? We'll see. Like I said, there's been a lot of stimulus that have come through. It's not like anybody's gotten a check yet or anything like that, or anything major has come out. We are seeing some good news that there is some type of lessening of the curve, maybe. But then at the same time, schools are basically officially clothing things till fall. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're good until like all of a sudden we hear that, round 2 of the coronavirus is coming. That we start to, we thought we had it, and now all of a sudden, bam, it's starting to get crazy again. Who knows? I don't know. But like I said, I still think this one is setting up, looking for some shorts. Even on the hourly, you can see on the hourly, we're starting to approach a zone. Now, this may be some type of an overnight position. Let's see, what do we got here? Let's see what the zone looks like. Yep, that's a gap. That's a gap zone. So that's actually not a bad little zone here if you guys are looking to get short in the overnight. Oops, I can just do it this way. Something along those lines. And again, make sure you check yours because, again, ECN is slightly different. But you guys will see that one is located approximately, that's a little bit low. It should be 98, right there. So 84.98.5. I was looking for some type of a short on that one, and you'd be looking to get out on that one at 69. So a little bit of range on that one. All right. Looking at the Dow. Dow is also approaching a little sneaky zone. Now you guys will see we did kind of have a top put on this one. This one is not grinding forward, but there's a zone right there, right above where we currently are. And I mentioned this weekend too. I said, hey, listen, we're getting in an area we just kind of got turned away from. And I don't believe we got front run, right? This is where we were last night. So when I was writing it, we were sitting right here. This is where the open happened from Sunday, right? I was looking to get short if we went up, but it ended up pulling away faster than that. So keep an eye on this one. Of the two, the NASDAQ is probably it's continuing to push a bit higher. The Dow doesn't look like it's going to have the oomph to do that. If it turns now, this would be that lower high that we were talking about before. And again, we can have, obviously, first potential targets down at 22,496. But eventually, I think we could actually even get back down to, back down in this range. Coming back over here into the 129.81 range. Right, I think that's where the potential is by the end of the week, if we can get a bounce off that zone. So, looking at S&P. So S&P's got some interesting stuff going on with it. The reason it's all blown up is because I was I was doing some stuff on another chart. Here's what we got on the 4-hour. Okay, so we had this level drawn last week, right? We had the level drawn. We ended up triggering on the 7th. We hit our full profit target. It didn't make it to the 5-to-1. It only made it to the made it to the 1 to 3, not the 1 to 5. It did form a new level. And again, the 1 to 5 we mentioned before would have been risky based off of this lower target, right? You guys can see it right here. We talked about the target obviously would have been sitting perfect is right here. Okay, this one not so much. Ended up bouncing exactly where we thought. So that was a good level. Okay. Since that time, it's hit it again and pushed down, hit it again, dropped down, and then grew some legs and went absolutely crazy, right? So that level was good. It made us money. We're good to go. Since that time, this is what we had. So price has been all over the place. Yeah, we'll go down to 30 minutes, and then we'll do overlays so you can see the larger time frame. All right, so, it's where price is right now. A lot of different ways you guys could have played this one. So the dotted lines are the overlays. So you can see, again, on the upper time frame, we couldn't see it here, but there was the entry, right? Price came up. It opened here, right inside of the level. Boom, all the way back down. Kind of did its thing, came back down, hit that level again, and then went up and just hit its profit target again. So the S&P, I would say it's more or less moving sideways, but it's basically exactly where it was last night, right? That's where it closed here on Friday, opened inside of that zone. Again, it opened inside of it opened inside of that hourly zone. Boom, popped up, hit it again. Great level to get long, and boom, all the way up again, hit your target. So I hope you guys have been trading this one because this has definitely been the best one of the three to trade today. Where we are now, again, looking at this one on a daily, you can see it's not running into as much stuff. The other two pairs are up here, kind of dealing with this kind of hiccup, this gap. You can see the daily here, we're up in that gap area. So here's the gap, we're into the gap area. The Dow on the daily, again, gaps up here, but there's a little bit of a zone. And then the S&P, again, we're kind of in that lower region over here. 4 hour, kind of the same scenario. Again, it opened up inside of the hourly zone, slammed all the way down, or the S&P came up, hit it, and across. So for me, even looking to the left right here, I'm looking at a zone and saying, hey, listen, there's an area right there of sellers. Oops, not there. Hold on. Right there. Okay. For me, that's an area of sellers. And let's go down and look at it on lower time frame and see if we can figure out. Yeah, that's fine. Probably there. Okay. And you can see that's actually where we were from Friday. Okay, so with that being said, every time we've hit this area, we hit it here, dropped, hit it here, slam down again, we're hitting it again. Even in the overnight, there may be potential for a short in this position. Okay, there's many different ways to trade this one. You can do it just with futures. You could do it with, let's see, do I still have Nadex up here? Yeah, let me see. What do we got in the overnight? Indices. Let's see here. The indicative value right now is it 27.97. It's not far off. Not too far off. Like I said, we got a little tiny bit more before we get to that zone. And this one is sitting right there. That's not horrible. Let's see. It's still 88. I'd like to get that a little bit lower. That could be an interesting trade setup for tomorrow. So like I said, we're still sitting at 97 over here. So it's about 5 points behind the one that I'm looking at on my charts. Again, just ECN pricing versus index pricing. Yeah, I mean this may be interesting. This may be something to get into. Like if you can get it in for a short here, right, per contract. Whoops. And then whoops, bring this up for something along this line. Go for like a $50 risk on this one. Now, will it bust through the bottom side? Yeah, I mean it's a 50-point move. It's possible, maybe, but that's not a bad little setup. Again, keeps your risk rather small. $50 on that one. Yeah, not horrible. And again, if it turns and goes down now, no harm, no foul. You didn't get in the trade. Wake up in a few hours and yeah, not too bad on that one. Like I said, it looks like it wants to do that. Let me see. Drop down to a 15-minute. What do we got here? Yeah, we're still pushing. It's still looking like it wants to go just, and again, you guys can see here, it needs to go just a little bit farther. Hold on, I'll delete my. You can see right there. There's the overlaid, and there's the smaller one. So it's close. There's a potential setup there for you guys. Know that I don't stay up much later than chart school, but yeah, there's a potential setup there. And like I said, if you guys are unfamiliar with it, with what Nadex is, they're just binary options. It's a U.S. based, so it's safer binary options broker, or actually, I guess they're not a broker, they're an exchange. We do a lot of stuff with them on the channel, and they have some good stuff over there. But that could be a potential setup in the overnight. So we'll see how that one goes. You got SP twice today. Yeah, I mean it's a great setup to grab. I mean there's many things that you guys can see with the overlay here. I mean many things to grab in this one, James. I mean top, bottom, another little. I think you could actually grab that. No, I couldn't grab that one as well. There's a little. You could have grabbed a little short here. Long here, a couple different things in this one today. Awesome job to hear you got it twice though. All right, guys. So with that being said, that is the last of the charts tonight. Like I said, we went a little bit long today, but that's okay. We had some new people out, and I don't mind answering questions for them. So for the new people that are in the room, the new followers, welcome. Typically what we do is we do a drawing every night. So what I'll do is by watching the channel, you get pip chips. Pip chips is just the channel's currency. You can buy different things with them. You can go down and currently in the stream store, the only things that we have here is the 30-minute mentoring. Basically, you get a mentor session. We can talk about whatever you want, how to get started, how to get set up, whatever you want to do. I don't have actual mentoring sessions on the website right now. Just haven't built that. I've just been way too busy, but it's one of those things I have to do, as well as MT4. The candle close and spread indicator are two different indicators I use, as well as ATR and pips, which is a little bit different for it's nice to have on MT4. And those are just 100 pip chips. So it's pretty easy. But what we do is we do a giveaway every single night. What you can do is you can purchase a ticket. Exclamation point ticket gets you one. The first one is for free, so you don't even have to be watching the channel for that long or be a follower or anything like that. And what I'll do is I'll do the drawing. Now, what the rules are is if you win 2 in a row, which we have many people that have won 2 in a row in the past, you get 25 pip chips for the first win. If you get the second win, you get 100 pip chips. So the winner last week for our last chart school was Debbie. So if Debbie wins tonight, Debbie gets 100 pip chips. All right. So if you haven't gotten in there yet, exclamation point ticket. I will take this one to 144 and then I will close it down. Ernest knows I always give a minute. Ernest will meet with teachers when schools come back online with fat envelopes and don't call me on the back. Did you see the meme today that, when homeschooling is over, if you raise your hand and your kid flinches, just ignore it? I was like, yeah. 30 seconds more, guys. And I know you guys have a little bit of a delay. Everybody's jumping in at the last minute. Ernest is like, no! Here we go. 20 seconds to go. 15 seconds. And you guys will see the winner probably. I always like to stop it and then pause just to kind of like that, dramatic, little bit of dramatic stuff here, right? So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. All right. Now I'm going to pause for 8 seconds because I know some of you guys have a little bit of a delay. It's typically better than mine, but I know when it counts down, you guys have that like, oh God, who won? Because you guys will see it before you actually hear it. All right, ready? And the winner of tonight's drawing is Sean. Look at that, 9% chance, and Sean pulled it out tonight. Congratulations, Sean. Good job. Leaderboard. Where's Sean? Sean is slowly creeping up too. I'm going to basically have to give like the top 25 people like 1,000 pip chips at this point. But yeah, it's going to be a close tie here. Close tie. All right, guys. So with that being said, that's all for tonight. Go to the Discord channel to see James's meme of the night. Remember James, he was the guy who had the 99-cent gas. So I know people from Texas hate 99-cent gas. So make sure you give him a meme with 99-cent gas in it. All right. All right, guys. With that being said, thank you so much for the new followers. Appreciate it. And again, same time tomorrow night. If you guys are around, if you guys have Discord, go ahead in the below section below the chart. Click the Discord channel. It's free to join. And tomorrow there's a webinar tomorrow afternoon where there's a potential for free classes that I'm giving away. It's something I'm doing for Nadex. So if you guys want some more analysis content during the middle of the day and talking about individual setups, you're more than welcome to join us. But that'll be on the Discord channel. You can get all the information for that. All right. So with that being said, guys, I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Take care.